Assalamu alaikum city students. Welcome to the academic session 2020-21. Hope you all are enjoying the lecture and understanding the explanation. Today is our third lecture of science for grade 4. A short review about the previous lecture. It was related to properties of solid, liquid and gases. What is a solution? All this we have learnt in a previous lecture. Our today's topic is, can matter change in state? Yes, matter such as water can exist in solid, liquid and gaseous state. Look at the picture. How can a liquid water change to a solid or gaseous state? Water vapor in the air is water in gaseous form. The water here in the liquid is the liquid state. Ice is the water in solid state. A substance can change in state when it loses heat or it gains heat. What happens when matter gains heat? This process is related to melting. Now look at the picture. What happens when we leave an ice cube in a warm room? Can you guess? Yes. The ice cube melts and changes into liquid. Why do you think this happens? When ice is placed in a warm room, it gains heat from its surrounding and its temperature reaches 0 degree. As we have learned that the melting point of ice is 0 degrees Celsius. Then it starts to melt and changes into liquid. Now you can see the table here. Solid gains heat and melting and it turns into liquid. When a solid changes into a liquid, the process is called melting. The temperature at which a solid melts is called melting point. Now for more further explanation, you have to refer to page number 21. Now in this slide, there are different solids having different melting points. On the previous slide, we have seen melting point of ice. Here there are two examples on the slide related to melting. The first is candle wax. It is a solid. It has higher melting point than ice. Does anyone knows the melting point of candle wax? Yes, the melting point of candle wax is between 40 degrees till 68 degrees. It is between 40 till 68. It has a higher melting point than ice. Now the second example is the molten iron. The molten iron has a very high temperature. You cannot see these examples in our daily life because it needs a higher temperature. There is the third example of molten rocks. For that you have to refer to page number 22 for that information. Now coming to the next process, that is boiling. Look at the figure. Liquid water that is being heated. What happens when water is being heated? Can you see what is formed? Yes, bubbles are formed throughout the water. What do these bubbles contain? These bubbles contain water in gaseous state. The bubbles will rise and escape from the water into the surrounding area. The boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius, as we have learnt before. Now look at the table given here. Liquid which gains heat that turns into gas, and liquid at the boiling point which turns into gas. The temperature at which a liquid boils is called its boiling point. When a liquid changes into a gas, its boiling point, the process is called boiling. Now coming to the next process, that is condensation. What happens when matter loses heat? Look at the figure. Just imagine, where do the water droplets on the inner surface of the lid come from? When water boils, it changes into steam. Steam has a higher temperature than a pot lid. So, when the steam touches the cooler inner surface of lid, it loses heat and thus change back into liquid water. So, this how we say that the steam has condensed. When a gas changes into a liquid, the process is called condensation. Kindly read and refer to page number 24 for further more explanation. Now coming to the next procedure, that is freezing. What happens when flavored water is kept in a freezer? The flavored water freezes and we get ice lollies. Now let's see how this happens. When the flavored water in the mold is placed in the freezer, it loses heat to the colder surrounding in the freezer and cools down. When its temperature drops to its freezing point, it starts to freeze and changes into a solid. As we know that the freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. Now look at the table. When a liquid changes into a solid, the process is called freezing. It is the reverse of melting. The temperature at which a liquid freezes is called its freezing point. Now, what have we learned today? A substance can change in state when it gains heat or loses heat. The change of a solid into a liquid is called melting. The change of a liquid into gas is called boiling. The change of a gas into a liquid is called condensation. The change of a liquid into a solid is called freezing. Freezing is the reverse of melting. So with this explanation, we have completed our chapter. In the next session, we will be learning new chapter, that is skeletons and masks. Hope you all are enjoying learning. Thank you. Grade 4.